Stop Killing Games did it, but don't stop now. Unless what you want to stop is stop killing games.
You sound like a town crier.
I am the crier. I was on 2.5 Men, you know. My name's John.
What?
It's the actor's name, John Cryer.
Oh, wow.
Matter.
All right. Whew.
Stop Killing Games, the initiative to save games from dying at the hands of their makers. Because usually developers stop making money on it and they're like,
See ya.
We architected this to only work if our servers are online, and now they're not. So I guess it's too bad. See you later. It has crossed the 1 million signatures it needed to get the attention of the EU Commission, which gives it a much higher chance to pass a law which could force developers to sunset their games properly. Now, Luke and I have given our thoughts on what proper sunsetting of games would look like
and
numerous
some really
times.
good examples.
We've also given some examples of how in some cases, it might not actually work that great. It could be quite challenging, whether it's around third-party licensing of, say, for example, music or other media that's included in the game, or whether it's around IP that is used across multiple products that could potentially harm the security of those other products. Or, there are potential reasons that just, putting out the source code of a particular game or putting the servers into the hands of the players might be really challenging. But that's what Stop Killing Games is seeking to change, is to make them architect these games from the ground up to comply with their obligation to make the game available after they no longer wish to support it, whether that is in the hands of another entity or the gamers themselves. Anyway, the petition is not over. They want as many signatures as possible because the more signatures they get, the better they can show interest in the movement. And it will also help in case some signatures are invalid for whatever reason. Given that this has gotten global attention, I don't doubt that a significant portion of those 1 million signatures are probably not from the EU.
Yeah, there's a big push for questioning. Not only may they not be from the EU, but there's some questioning of if it was like botted to go higher with the intention of hoping that people would slow down once it passed its mark. So there's a lot of questions going on.
In other news, because they have no sense of irony, EA has announced that Anthem's servers will be shutting down on January 12th, 2026, and that the game will be removed from EA Play on August 15th, 2025. Man, there was some other terrible games industry news, but I guess none of it had to do with games that were actually released. You see Microsoft killed a whole bunch of jobs again.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, including some games that apparently were so promising that Microsoft executives had to have the controllers taken out of their hands when they were playtesting it.
What?
And now it's dead. Anyway, so if you're from the EU, head over to stopkillinggames.com and sign the petition, because while this only affects the EU ruling, it is quite possible, nay, probable, that it will have a larger impact outside of the EU as well, because if they already have to do all of the work to architect their game so that it could be tied up into a nice little bow and then handed off once they no longer feel like supporting it, then I pretty much guarantee you that that would have a positive impact for players in other countries as well. Other continents, excuse me. Sorry, EU is not a country. There's also a UK-specific version of the petition on the same site. If you scroll down a bit, this has also reached the 100,000 signatures needed, but can always use more. So our discussion question here is, can you brainstorm the ideal sunsetting plan that developers could do to keep games alive forever? Is it leaving their servers up and running? Is it making it open source? What's the ideal? And I know my answer, but I want to hear your answer.
Yeah, I don't think leaving their servers up forever is going to function. It's not going to work.
No, that's not going to work. You can't just legislate companies losing money because eventually
infinite maintenance on things that are losing money.
Yeah, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that this is impossible or an unreasonable expectation for products that we buy. right? Like these aren't products that are even sold to us necessarily as a subscription service. I mean, they treat them like one, but these are products that in many cases we buy as like a one-time transaction, and you can bury terms in your end user license agreement that make it so that, you know, you're only obligated to leave it up as long as you feel like it. But I think there is a certain expectation that when I give you a one-time payment for something, say one lime,
Thank you.
that is now your lime, and that I don't have a remote lime kill switch that will just take your lime and get it out of here. Right? Like that is not what our expectation would be, I think, under normal circumstances.
I have pirated the lime.
Nice. Open source lime. I like it. I'll just put that back.
You whacked the TV.
Well,
it still looks like it
you'll
works
never prove
fine.
it. You'll never prove it. The camera didn't see anything.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a little tough for some games. I don't necessarily think it's completely unsolvable, because the stance that we've had, I don't know if this honestly, I'm not super on top of the Stop Killing Game stuff, so I don't know if this perfectly aligns with theirs. But the stance that we've had is that you should at least give the community a chance to do it.
Yeah, I'd say my ideal execution of this is Forged Alliance Forever.
Yeah.
Supreme Commander was a super cool game that I really enjoyed. I think I forget who went down first, Gas Powered Games or THQ. But ultimately what happened is there was some complexity around any kind of transfer of the IP. There was some drama that went down around, I think it was it Gas Powered Games that went down first? You know what? I really don't remember, so it doesn't matter. The point is either the publisher or the developer went bye-bye. And what they ultimately arrived on was leaving the matchmaking and custom map hosting and community chat and all of these features, leaving them in the hands of the community that wanted to maintain the game and be stewards of the game. Meaning that even though it has been like 10 plus years now since that game was no longer actively supported by the developer, you can still play it online. You can play custom maps. There's all kinds of cool mods that you can apply. So they have their own like mod workshop that's built within the FA Forever. So Forged Alliance was the expansion to Supreme Commander. So it's Forged Alliance Forever. So within the Forged Alliance Forever launcher, it handles automatic updates. It's a little janky.
Sure. But in a way that's honestly like, I'm completely fine. It's kind of cool. It reminds me of old style computing.
But it's alive. It's freaking alive. And the best part is the IP holders still get to profit from it. So you have to buy. They've worked out a system where you have to authenticate with the Forged Alliance Forever server, that you have to give it access to your Steam library and prove that you own a copy of Supreme Commander or Forged Alliance.
Also think is fine.
Which I think is totally fine. I mean,
if the company is willing to hand all these reins over in the way that they did, then I think it's okay. Yeah. Ideally, they put it at a price that's like not.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty reasonable these days. But the point is just that this is a way that the players continue to win by being allowed to play the game, and the publisher and or developer, depending on whatever their revenue split looks like, gets to continue to win by occasionally selling the game here and there. That's freaking awesome. You can buy it for $2.79 right now. That is $2. It's a great game. It actually has legitimately
really fun.
A pretty decent campaign. Like, it's an RTS campaign, so you know how it goes. You do each level and you unlock some more of the tech tree and you killed all the bad guys or whatever. And I would say that the online can be a little daunting to get into, because you'll finish that campaign and think you're a Supreme Commander god, and then you'll jump in online and get absolutely curb stomped.
It's the skill ramp is insane.
But it has a really great built-in replay function that allows you to watch back at any speed you want, and like, it's really quick to go through replays. People from my experience have been very friendly and willing to discuss strategy. So once you get a handle on some of the strats, community
seems great.
It's pretty fun if you like a deep if you like a deep RTS, and it has the best top-down interface that has ever existed for a game. I will stand behind that. The strategic zoom is outstanding.
It's very easy to get around the map.
With a mouse wheel, you basically you don't move the cursor to the edge of the screen and pan. That's like dinosaur technology. So you just use the mouse wheel, and kind of like zooming in on an image in like an image editor, you just kind of like zoom out and then zoom in. It's like shoo, shoo. And then you can actually turn your viewport into like a super zoomed in look at what something is doing. You could go to one of your factories and see the unit that's being like 3D printed on the bed. And then you can zoom all the way out. So your whole monitor is just a big mini map, like a not mini map, but anyway, the point is there's icons for little icons representing all the units, and you can see like a whole strategic view of the entire battlefield. It even supports multi-monitor. It did back in the day anyway. So you could have like your giant mini map on one monitor and then your gameplay view on another monitor. It was like freaking awesome. Maxi Map says when Bingo Chronified. Yeah, exactly. Apparently Factorio has something similar as well. Strategic zoom, dude. Huge innovation in that game. Great. Absolutely love it. So that's
that's kind of the ideal to me, is like put the ability to keep running it in the hands of the community.
And if the community doesn't care,
then that's fine.
All right. And some games will still die.
I would prefer the things required be put somewhere, some external repository that doesn't cost to maintain, like a public GitHub or something like that. I don't know, but like put it somewhere. I don't know if this makes any sense. Internet Archive it, something. Do something so that you never have to look at it again. Because honestly, if the company doesn't ever want to look at it again, I think that's completely fine. Also, don't take it back. If you have given it up to the community and then they find some huge success with it, it's theirs.
Yeah, but there's an opportunity there as well. Because that keeps the IP alive. It keeps it...
Learn what they did that worked really well.
Yeah, and then do a sequel. Yeah. It's still your IP.
Yeah. What other parts of it? I know like an argument that I've heard is like, oh, what about the music licensing? It's like, okay.
Yeah.
That sucks.
That can be a thing.
Take the music out.
I mean, I think at that point, you could even potentially task the community with doing that. You could be like, here's all the stuff that's not licensed. Like we realistically, we're insolvent now. Like we don't have the means to do anything with this anymore. But yeah, here's the documentation. You guys are responsible for your own legal minefield. You have to remove any licensed music and replace it with something else.
Fine to me.
I'm okay with that.
I don't know how that necessarily works legally, but it seems fine to me.
I don't think you can legislate companies working on something in perpetuity.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
But what you can do is you can create an expectation that they will hand over in some semblance of working order the materials that are needed to continue the work if there is someone who is willing to take it on.
I don't think they can even hand over the music. It needs to be removed beforehand. That's easy to do.
And besides, I don't think I don't even know if I would buy that, because realistically, the ownership, the right to use music comes down to licensing anyway. Like I could hand you a CD and that wouldn't be a license to include it in a game. So like if I handed you a file pack, I am not handing you a license to use it in a game. I'm just like it's ones and zeros.
You're still distributing the music.
You are, but
we are not legal people. We're not going to figure this out.
Yeah, no, but you're distributing it with a set of terms that prohibit actually using it for anything.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. That's a tough question. That's for the legal people to figure out, and I appreciate their hard work, but my point doesn't change that I don't think this is insurmountable. Our other question is, I know you guys are boomers and play old games, but are there any games that have been shut down that have impacted your social circle? I already know Luke's answer.
Oh. You probably do.
Yeah, just when WoW went to shit.
Yeah.
Like,
That's an even more interesting question because that's a version of a game that is still running.
yeah, that's a tougher one.
That gets really tough.
I don't think there's any recourse there.
The community forced that too. Like,
You mean bringing back WoW Classic?
yeah.
But then didn't WoW Classic like evolve and then is like not WoW Classic anymore?
Yeah, no, what I mean is like Nostalrius back in the day. And Nostalrius is the most well-known one, but there's a ton of private servers for WoW.
Sure.
Not just Nostalrius, and there still are private servers for WoW, many of them. The community forced that. They like rebuilt boss mechanics and stuff that they didn't have because they had to build like the server side of it, and it's honestly extremely impressive. That was just out of like an immense amount of community attention, I guess. But there's still the original Classic WoW branch that Blizzard made, but it's still going and it's way past Classic WoW now. And then there's like some other versions. I don't know all of them. There's a hardcore one where if you die, your character's done. And there's one I think called Season of Mastery where they like change a bunch of stuff. I don't know if many people are into that. And then there's rumors of them making what they're calling Classic Plus now, which is a whole other thing. But yeah, like games that iterate, EverQuest, WoW, all these old MMOs. Like it's really interesting because where does that argument stop? Because it might not even be within an expansion. It might be a patch within an expansion.
Yeah.
So like a state of a game.
Yeah. Like, I mean, okay, here's a perfect example of a game that, you know, there wouldn't be any kind of stop killing games impact on, but they've absolutely made a change to it that has killed our ability to enjoy it. Tape to Tape. That's an early access game. I have good news for you.
Okay.
That's an early access game right now that they moved away from time-based game lengths to just first to reach a certain number of goals. It's a hockey game. And Luke was so upset by this change to the gameplay that I actually reached out to the lead developer, or lead designer, I guess is technically his title, and I advocated on your behalf and mine as well. I agree that a hockey game is determined by the clock, not by how many, who reaches the threshold
good old
number of
hockey
goals.
game is 3 periods.
3 periods, and there is now a drop down.
Which totally
in
cool.
The pre-alpha branch, so you can select your difficulty and you can select first to a certain number of goals or time-based.
Which is because maybe some people will like that very weird version of first to 3 goals. Maybe some people are into that. Cool. If it's an option, I'm totally down.
Yeah. So we're back, baby.
Heck yeah.
I looked today and it's in.
Nice.
It's in the pre-alpha branch.
Very cool. That's good.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool.
But yeah, it gets,
But yeah, stop killing games. Wouldn't do anything about that.
Because like everyone is mad about Classic WoW, but it's still technically, I don't know what expansion they're even on now, but like the main branch is still technically there. It never technically went away.
Yep.
The game was technically never killed.
It was never killed.
It was just expanded upon for decades.
So this is going to be a tough thing to tackle because there's absolutely practical challenges like we've outlined already. Not being able to legislate maintaining software forever, not being able to legislate never patching in or out functionality. Like that's something that they could do to get around this pretty easily is they could just patch out multiplayer.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we didn't kill the game.
We patched the game down to you open a door and then the game is over. It's no longer multiplayer. It is single player.
And it shows an end screen.
You open one door and then the game ends.
And it says, congratulations, your speedrun time is X or whatever.
And we have given the files out to the community to run this game.
So there's absolutely ways around this that we'd have to kind of try to brainstorm all the sneaky ideas that executives and publishers might have to get around it. But
it's a tough problem. I'm happy someone's trying to address it.
Yes. At least this is a step, and I'm really glad to see that it's got the momentum that it does, even if there are some voices within formerly of the industry that are speaking out against it because of some of these practical challenges around crafting this legislation and then ultimately enforcing it.